Hey, the problem, y'all see this? That's another problem with HBCU today. We're not doing nothing wrong, and they already kicking us up for doing the show. Another problem.
We got kicked out of the library that we played for. We was trying to have a intelligent conversation about everything that goes on in HBCUs, and you over here, you try to do something for your people and your own people.
It proves the point.
What point
that we're talking about? Over policing shit. Like.
All right, what's good, Sean? Stefan G, host and creator of Culture Talk. While we was away, we had got kicked out of the library for our show. They said we can't record in the library, and they kicked us out. There was a lot going on, but we're back.
They can stop the revolutionary, but they can't stop the revolution.
Facts.
I need you to say that a little bit louder, big dog.
Huh?
I need you to say that a little bit louder.
I said they can stop the revolutionary, but they can't stop the revolution.
Facts. All right, so now we're gonna go back to my boy Deshaun and have them start back the conversation.
Yeah, so we got kicked out by some fake ass cops. I don't want to get everybody's thoughts on that. When we was talking about problems in HBCU, and I mean that just one that just popped up right there. So let's get everybody quick thoughts before we go on more to the next topic real quick, just on that.
Oh, okay, that's me. All right, so my whole thing is I don't feel like campus police prioritizes the right things. Obviously, this was not that big of a deal because we were recording on a camera phone. Everybody does that in here. Everybody does that in the library. They go to the library to specifically record stuff. And we had dudes out here escape prison, out here just lingering amongst us, beating their meats over here. We had somebody come out to homecoming right here and pull out an extendo clip. You think they caught them? No. Like, we don't prioritize the right things here, and this is obviously the perfect example.
I agree.
I think one thing that definitely needed to be mentioned in things that are wrong with HBCUs is old-ass security guards that have nothing to do, that stop productive shit with their time. And I really want to know what they get out of it, because we're just like, whether it's positive, whether it's negative, whether it's neutral, we're in a room as a group of human beings just discussing something civilly, and then you dead burst through the door and you're just like, all right, I'm gonna need everybody to exit this room. Like, what do you get out of it? Like, what serves the purpose? Like, you just go back to your conglomerate of security guards and like, yeah, we sure showed them. That'll they're not gonna do that again. I'll tell you what, not in my library.
It's basically, why are we policing black bodies, black teenagers, black children who are dying more rapidly as the years go on in a black space? Made for us to prosper and feel safe. I feel safe because I know they're not going to try it. With social media out here, I know we're not going to get into that type of altercation. But it's just kind of like the system of policing black children, seeing that we are a problem.
And that's my fault.
Sure, no, cute too, though.
Like, okay, hold on. Like, one thing that's my problem is that you can stop something like this, and you could put your foot down, and you could have them leave the premise and go like halfway across campus like that. At the same time, you could damn near dress as a 1970s Batman villain and walk on campus and ain't nobody gonna stop you. But at the same time, you see a group of people just discussing something amongst themselves, and you go ahead and stop it with like, you got your priorities.
Well, black groups have always been revolutionary. Anytime you see a group of black people, gathering, it is said to be scary, said to be revolutionary, because you don't know what we're talking about. You don't know what's coming next. Think about the Black Panthers, think about everybody. But I think my only response to the people in the library, I thought the library was a public space so that the public can come in there and use that space to, I guess be invigorated, innovate, do whatever. So I just have a question: why are you policing my body in a space that was meant for all of us? That's it.
What they did was absolutely unnecessary. It was so extra. I was just like, okay, whatever, I'll leave. But I have a feeling that the two people who did come and do that, they probably didn't want to. They probably like, there's more important things that we have to worry about than kicking these kids out of the library. But like someone in the office, like someone higher up than them was like, go and harass the children now. And they had to, you know what I mean? Like they had to. Yeah.
I want to put it, oh shit, my fault.
Okay, going off of what Jordan said too, like the two officers that came, like they weren't being that much, like they were just doing their job. But to me, it felt like somebody else was applying pressure to the situation. Somebody else was telling them that something else was happening, because the way that they came was not what was required. Like, we were all sitting in a room, no one was being disruptive. The people that were studying right next to us were not even complaining. So if they weren't complaining and we were in a shared space, why do you feel the need to come at us so strongly? And because of that, that just makes me feel like they were acting crazy for a situation they didn't even inform us about. So they're talking about how we didn't have the right to record in the library. Where did you tell us that? Where did that conversation take place? Because if not, you're coming over here yelling at us and giving us an attitude about something you were negligent in. So to me, that seems like more of a you problem.
The library man obviously was the one spearheading it. Like, he obviously gassed it to the two officers, because if he would have told them, they probably only would have sent one person. Like, 2 people was not really necessary, you know what I mean? So like, when the man opened the door immediately, his face was like,
He's like,
I need everyone to get out of the room. Because the other man who works at the library that was with him was like, get the fucking nigger kids in here. Like, he was literally like, these niggers out. You know, like,
The worst part about the whole incident was that we were in a pretty sizable room, and there were other people that were actually studying and actually like. Okay, so there were people, so we were in a sizable room, and there was like a good amount of other people that was actually just like, you know, just like actually studying and just doing whatever, and they got forced to leave the room as well, and we just don't understand.
They had to leave?
No, they didn't. They didn't.
They didn't?
The people that were studying? No, the guy, the security guard
Edit
asked
that
him,
out.
he said
Edit
him
that
too,
out.
and he was like, no, they can stay here.
It don't make sense.
Yeah, I think he pointed them to ask if he
got it
was
from that
referring
source.
to those students.
Well, I said I saw them point. That's why I was under the impression that they got booted out too, but I'm glad they didn't.
It don't make sense that we got booted out because we pay for the library. Like, I paid $38,000 a year. And y'all just kicked me out because we were recording. People record every day in the library. I see people snap stories, Insta stories, taking photos. I've seen someone do a whole photo shoot in the library, in the stairwell, the big glass stairwell that everyone can see what you're doing. They didn't get kicked out. I'm in the library every day with my camera, recording photos, anything I want. They don't say shit to me. But now it's a problem, and that doesn't make sense.
And they know it's bullshit too.
Oh, yeah, his hand up.
Alright, so like, I think the problem with HBCUs in general is just like, at least in my experience, it's the security, like in general. Like, they can't do anything when it's like a real problem. But if it's like somebody that is peaceful like we were, and we comply with them, then they have some type of jurisdiction. But as soon as it's like somebody that's like clearly on some other stuff and is not trying to listen to them, they have no power because they don't want to do anything. Like, they won't do anything. Very rarely has there ever been a situation where they've done anything to somebody that's like a real threat, in my experience.
I think I kind of like. Oh, excuse me.
I think it's just like an honestly abuse of power issue. I feel like you're giving a lot of incompetent people power, and I feel like they use it on the wrong things, like we have already mentioned. The library should be like a shared space, like you said. The library should be a space that we can voice our opinions and do things like that. And also, we weren't aware of the whole signature and authorization process. And I just feel like if you're gonna press the issue so hard about you not being knowledgeable of this process, then why didn't you press the issue to make us knowledgeable of this process?
Like, I think one of the definite things that's problem with HBCUs is like, it's lack of, like somebody said earlier, transparency. It's hard to get to know information. Like, it'd be different if there's just like a policy on the library website. Yeah, you can't record, but here's how you get permission to record. It's like you have to actually be caught in the act, get in trouble for it, and then they tell you, oh, you got to do this, and they might explain to you how to do it. But a lot of problems that we have, it's not clear on how you do certain processes with anything at HBCUs in general.
And I feel like the rules are super arbitrary.
Yeah,
like what's the issue? Like, they say it's like affecting the brand of the school, but if we don't, like, it doesn't really make sense to me. Like, we're students. Like, if you attribute like just a group of students like to the entire school's belief system, it's kind of crazy. Like, when crazy racist stuff happen at other schools, they're quick to condemn it and say, oh, this is just the views of these one student or this one student. Why can't they do the same thing with us?
And then the library is like a shared space. It's not even like just Clark, Morehouse, Spelman. It's like the whole AUC. So it's not like it's just one school's beliefs.
So
it's literally the AUC, like even the ITC and School of Medicine is there. So
We
it's
had
like,
Morris Brown, but we had all of the AUC and Morris Brown here. Like clearly, that's not the belief of just one school. That doesn't make sense to me. But
So I'm gonna play devil's advocate real quick. We was in there. They told us multiple times to dip. Like we all heard them tell us to dip. Like we can say like we didn't know the rules. Like, but they told us multiple times to dip. But we took it upon ourselves to even know what they said was. Now I'm not trying to say what they said was right. However, they did tell us the consequences that would come with us recording in the library. And they told us, like, the dude was saying, like, the steps we need to take in order to record in the library. However, at the same time, what HBCUs, like, in that one instance, you get a big, broad idea of what the problem in HBCUs. We have the protection of the brand. We have protection of, you know, opinions. Like, you can only have one type of opinion if you go to these certain types of schools. And then also, I feel like as a whole, like, hold on, let me get my thoughts together. As a whole, like, I feel like we have these ideas and we have these thoughts that we want to say, but a lot of times they're muted. And a lot of times when we try to put out our opinions, and that's why, like, we go to Twitter, we go to Facebook, because, like, and it's not a bad thing that we go to these places, but when people, like, I'm not trying to cap or anything, but nobody would know who that dude is right there if he ain't had no Twitter. That's why, that's why a lot of people, like, I'm not trying to be disrespectful, like, no disrespect, like, it's real deal that niggas hate this man, like, for real, because of what he say, and it's probably a lot of more people that say, like, how they feel on Twitter, and I'm not necessarily saying, like, that's a bad thing, but if he would have never tweeted the stuff, he would have said that inspires somebody else to tweet what they want to say, and that inspires somebody else to tweet what they want to say. Then when they find they got the same like beings, then they all come together in this collective space. So you can't say that when somebody tweets how they feel, it's just, there's no point. Obviously, it is a point that we've all made it in this one direction, in this one space. So that's just how I feel. Speak, please.
No, you haven't spoken. You got it. You got it.
Alright, so I feel like there's a really big problem also with this idea in HBCU spaces that it is what it is, just like that. Or they like to try and put us in our place. And that doesn't make sense, because if we're in a black space, why is there a slave mentality in this space?
Facts.
And
Let me respond. I'm gonna respond to that.
like, for instance, I remember when they took away murder and visitation, because not murder. They did that too, but they took away back with visitation over a fire alarm thing. They took away the whole space, and it's like, why am I responsible for him if he's not gonna be responsible for me? They just told me it is what it is. Oh, I went to the AD and he said, because I felt like it. How could you do that? You can't have that mentality if you're trying to establish another one.
I feel like to respond with what you said, like, it's nothing like everybody, pretty sure everybody's saying fuck visitation, because that shit still, I have more visitation at home type shit. But at the end of the day, like, even in the library, it was all of us was saying, you know, like, in that moment, we was like, fuck Woodruff, you know what I'm saying? Like, fuck Clark, fuck Morehouse, fuck Spelman, fuck all these institutions, you know what I'm saying? Okay, well, excuse me, my bad. Okay, well, at the moment, you had all these negative feelings, you know what I'm saying? But at the end of the day, like, we saying that, you know, what they did was in the library was wrong, what the visitation was wrong, and this is just like a broader scope of what's wrong with HBCUs. At the end of the day, I'm gonna pay my $48,000. He gonna pay his $38,000. Whatever. At the end of the day, everybody in this room, majority of these folks, we still finna pay our money. We still finna be here. So ain't nothing finna change as long as we still paying this money. Ain't nothing finna change, and that's just simple.